Okay, so there are a few things you might not understand that are in Spanish, and I use just words intermixed. One is taller is a workshop, classroom, or mechanic. Sabes cómo tomar cerveza is do you know how to drink beer? And sabes cómo tomar pollo is do you know how to eat chicken? And last but not least is the TIPS task force is the Trafficking in Persons task force. Enjoy.
So I'm pretty lame. I didn't actually memorize all this shit because I just actually wrote it last week. But anyhow, I'll give it a shot here. Who's aching for a Xanax? I mean, who would have thought we'd have without sexual consent all this? It's not word out here in the Peace Corps. One thing that's crazy is like I've lost a ton of weight out here, and Peace Corps made me super thin. Let's see, I drink wine instead of beer for the most part now. And I have a new dog who I named Eleanor Dashwood after a Jane Austen novel. I never thought that Peace Corps would make me a metrosexual. The other option is marrying an indigenous bride, which seems to be the average case out there. But the crazy thing is, like, you actually came across a woman who was not married, without child, and of course of age. How do you have a conversation with an indigenous woman about how, or whether or not she is a lifelong Democrat with a, proven voting record? At the same time, how do you have an argument with her about how Ralph Nader ruined our country? Oh, okay, man. Losing weight and getting in shape, that's, it's a good thing. I think people would have a better time with the whole diet game in the States if they tried the Peace Corps Ecuador style, which is, well, you get diarrhea, the worst diarrhea you've ever had in your life for weeks at a time, and then live out in the jungle and sweat. I had this fever that lasted about a week, and it was about 104, and it stayed average of about 103 for about 6 days. All I could do was just lay there and sweat my ass off. I mean, it was just incredible. But well, now I lost my place. Yeah, well, that's really the point. But the other thing is, at least out the orientate, I don't know what it's like in the other parts of the country, but the people aren't exactly subtle with their comments. They're like, you were fat when you got here. And now you're thin. Which hurts only just enough to make it so that you want to continue to stay in shape, but it doesn't hurt enough to make you want to kill yourself, which is good. Well, if it wants to kill himself, that's Oh, okay. Totally changed subjects, and I'd like to talk about the whole deposit bottle situation, because we've all had Pilsner and deposit bottles. I was in Cana a couple of months ago, and there were some other volunteers, and we were staying at this hostel, and there was a bar across the way, but it was just more fun to sit in our room and have a couple of beers. So I go into the bar and I asked if I could take a beer just right across the street to the hostel. I gave away my room number and everything. She's like, that's fine, but if you don't return the bottle, we'll have to kidnap you. I'll pay a deposit if you'd like. She's like, oh no. And, kidnapping is definitely the best way to take care of that situation. And my level of Spanish is improving, of course, as everyone else's is, but there's some things you don't necessarily understand, but I love the language differences and the way that it all comes across. And certainly out in the Oriente, I don't know if it's different than the other parts, but you could ask, ¿Sabes cómo tomar cerveza? Well, I went to college. I know how to drink beer. And the funniest one I was asked, ¿Sabes cómo comer pollo? As a matter of fact, I do know how to eat chicken. Thank you for asking me, and I feel better as a result of that. Oh, chicha. God. I mean, morning, noon, night, it's there. I gotta get my hat off to Sadie. I don't know if she's in the room here. She's definitely drinking a lot more than I am, but well, that was a little work. I almost describe the situation out there as it's kind of like the Lord of the Flies. I don't know how many of you read that book, but it's a bunch of grown-ups who are, I don't know, they're having a good time out there. I did this cacao here where by 9 o'clock in the morning we were drunk. And men climbing trees to cut branches while other guys are shaking that thing. They're good times. And safety is not really an issue. Let's see. I don't know how many of you guys get a lot of packages. I get a package about every 2 weeks from my dad. He sends me the craziest stuff. He sends me like rubber gloves in a bag. He steals them from the hospital he works at. I don't know why he sent them to me in the first place. But the craziest thing he sent me disinfectant wipes that he made himself, put in a plastic bag, with a note inside. It was like, use these when you go to the bathroom. Okay. I don't know what he's thinking, but it's fine. Where else? What do I have? Oh yeah, I'm definitely officially a single guy again. Not that I had a girlfriend in a long time, but I'm down to one light bulb in my house, and I'm changing it around from socket to socket as I go, because who needs light bulbs? Back to my comments about the language differences. I love the statement, "Estás con diarrea?" Like, are you with diarrhea? Actually, we broke up. Every time I talk on the phone with diarrhea, it's like, leave. I just thought it was better than separate. Okay. This joke was given to me by someone else, and I'll tell it. It's awful, but it's funny. So I had some big ideas when I came down here to Ecuador. I was going to, change a ton of lives by, starting a business that in the trucking service industry, make a little money on top. But we're not supposed to make money, so I'd be happy to give that to my community. But that damn tips task force just got in the way. What am I going to do with all this duct tape? Just like two regular jokes. The first one is just in honor of Dale and of course that, and because I went to Texas and I have to say it. Does anyone know how the Aggie broke his arm raking leaves?
Oh, wow.
No.
He fell out of the tree. And the last one is, it's one I heard a few years ago, and I hope I can make it sound right. There was this guy, and he lost his eye when he was a little kid. And his parents didn't have much money, so they couldn't afford to get him a glass eye to replace it. And so his dad was a carpenter, and he made him one out of wood. It was polished wood, and it was sealed, so it was sanitary. And but everybody in town knew that he had this wooden eye. And like all the kids behind his back always called him Wood Eye, Wood Eye. And he went his whole life just having to deal with this like tough situation of having lost an eye, but at the same time having this wood eye, and knowing, even though no one ever said it to his face, that he had this nickname. Well, he gets into high school, and there's this new girl that moved to town, and just so happened that she had a hair lip, and just a scar, of course, remaining, and no big deal. But he had never had the nerve to ask anybody out. Like he actually didn't even know the situation about the girl. He didn't notice this, but anyhow, so he knew this new girl moves to town. So he thought, there's this dance coming up, and I'll ask her out to the dance. And so he goes up to her and he's like, hey, I know you're new here, but we have a dance coming up, and I'd love to invite you out to the dance. And he's like, would you like to go? And she says, would I? And he points at her, hairless. Well, that's all I got. I love it. Sure, excellent material.
The test is over.